Hey friends, Dungeon Guru here. So I've been playing solo RPGs with AI recently, and I thought I would show you how this works. First thing, you want to make sure you have the correct prompt for what you're doing. I happen to be using Shadowdark currently, but this works for D&D or Pathfinder 2E or any of the rule sets. Most AI are aware of all the rules, at least in some portion. Sometimes you have to upload the PDF. So what I did is I used ChatGPT first to get a prompt that would work under any AI specifically for running the solo game. And I put that prompt in the description below so you can do the same thing if you like. Then I said, okay, I want it to create a character for me. And so I gave it this prompt here. It just says, create a second level Shadowdark RPG male human fighter for a solo game with AI, optimize his stats, and give him all typical equipment. Saves me having to do all that work. And so it did so. However, one of the things that I noticed it did, it looked like it was going to kind of combine D&D with Shadowdark. So I actually asked him real quick, let me get to it. I said, is this using Shadowdark rules or D&D? And ChatGPT said, great question. I'm glad you caught that. What I gave you is mostly Shadowdark flavored, but I mixed in a couple assumptions that lean closer to D&D style thinking. Let me cleanly separate this. So basically used Shadowdark for the most part. It gave me a little bit of extra things simply because I'm playing solo. It is not D&D 5e because there's no proficiency bonus scaling, no fighting styles, no second wind, no action surge, no feats, no skill systems like 5e. HP is much lower. AC values, the OCR style, and there are no death save systems like in 5e. Shadowdark is much leaner and more dangerous. And so it gave me some options if I want to do it, but I'll take what it's got there. And so if you've not used AI before, you can see here, and I guess you can't see my cursor, but you can see how it pops up there, the copy. If I hit that, it actually copies that entire character sheet. And it gave me a quick sheet summary, but what I just did was I copied this entire reply to my original input, which was to create the second level Shadowdark character. And so now, we're going to create a new chat, and this is going to become a thing, by the way, because sometimes your tabletop role-playing games, solo games, run so deep that AI begins to get a little confused. It refers to it as continuity errors. I call it as having a stroke because it begins to get repetitive and it begins to stumble over its stuff. It begins to get things really confused, almost as if it's having a stroke. It will even argue with you that it's right and you're wrong. Now, there's different AIs you can use here. I've used all of them. For today's example, I'm going to stick with ChatGPT, although typically I use Grok, simply because ChatGPT and Gemini will, they won't let you get quite as gross and bloody with stuff, and won't, be quite as realistic. I like a certain amount of verisimilitude, and so I'm more about that. So I like Grok. Grok is completely uncensored. You can kind of go nuts with it. But anyway, so let's go ahead and we're going to create a new chat. And so up here on the far left up top, you hit new chat. And what are you going to do? I take my first prompt. Hang on, let me put the character in here. Boom. So I use a Word doc to copy stuff in. So I take my first prompt, which is the one directing it on how to run the RPG. And so let's go from the begin. And you can see it gives it all these basic procedures that it wants it to do. And so I'll just run through this really quick. You're my game master for a solo campaign using Shadowdark RPG rules. And again, you can use any RPG you like. You are a fair, consistent, immersive referee running an old school fantasy world. You prioritize rulings over rules. Let me copy this so that I can cut it. All right. And you prioritize rulings over rules, meaningful choices, and emergent storytelling. You're not a novelist. You are a referee representing situations and reacting to my decisions. Tone and style, dark fantasy, grim, grounded, realistic, evocative but concise descriptions, 2 to 4 paragraphs unless it's dramatic moment. Show, don't tell, emphasize danger, scarcity, torchlight, encumbrance, and time pressure. No modern humor or meta commentary. NPCs have believable motivations and self-preservation. Include sensory detail, sound, smell, texture, atmosphere. Moral ambiguity is welcome. Rules use Shadowdark mechanics and necessary homebrew. Rulings over rules. Let players roll dice for the character's uncertain outcomes. You do the necessary math. You roll for NPCs and we'll do all math and show rolls transparently. Track HP, inventory slots, rations, torches, spell use, conditions, time, turns. Enforce danger fairly. Death is possible. Do not adjust difficulty to protect me, but keep in mind we're running solo. Gameplay structure, present clear situations, offer meaningful choices, do not railroad, let me attempt creative solutions, use random tables when appropriate, generate dungeons procedurally and reveal them room by room, keep the world reactive to my actions, content focus is exploration and dungeon crawling, factions and competing interests, strange, unpredictable magic, tension, and survival pressure. Procedure, ask me for my character sheet. Ask one focused question about my character's background or motivation. Clarify lethality. Expectations default is to high. Begin as a medias res with a strong, dangerous hook scene. When play begins, end each response with what do you do. Keep pacing tight. Maintain tension. Track everything accurately. Now, this prompt, even though it gave it to me, I did go in and edit it because I've run into so many problems over the past month using AI, trying to be my GM, that I know where it's going to fumble and fall down, and I need to make sure that I'm really clear with it. It will, at times, really railroad, and it's almost like you're just kind of sitting back and letting it write a novel for you with no interaction from you. So the prompt is important, and you got to get it just right. All right, so let's go back to ChatGPT. Let's put in that, and we're going to hit go, and it will then, good, we'll do this properly. First I need a character sheet, so then I go back to my character sheet that I created, Garrick Vale. I did not come up with a name. I let it do the name and everything for me. I'm going to cut and paste this in, and it's a much bigger character sheet than you would normally have in Shadowdark, but it will work for our purposes today. And we're going to go to there, boom, boom, cut and paste that, shrink that down. All right, and so we're going to give it the character sheet, and all right, so we're going to boom that, and then it'll probably ask me again about lethality. Before we begin, you need high lethality. Retreat may not always be possible. Light will matter, noise will matter, steal will fail, eventually confirm. I think I'm going to go with that. It's always fun. It's not like I'm keeping this character to play for centuries. Now I must audit and lock your sheet for tracking. Talents confirmed. Final combat stats, inventory stats, 14 slots. You're over capacity by 1 slot. Encumbered characters suffer -1 to attack rolls and moments. So I'm going to drop. Let's see what's in there. I'm going to drop. Gosh, why is a tinderbox a total of 1? Chainmail, shield, longsword, dagger. I'm going to drop the dagger for now. I'm going to need to be able to carry some stuff, though. No, backpack is on there. So this is something it wouldn't know. Backpack is actually free use. Free to carry. And go. All right, so now you are not encumbered, sheet locked. Confirm you, high lethality. And you can just cut and paste this, confirm. And then just change, I accept. Boom. All right, and it had already started. And this I find annoying. It asks you something and then it already begins. but we'll go ahead and read from here. Rain slicks with cliff stone beneath your boots. The wind shoves at your cloak, tugging you toward the black churn of the sea below. The cave mouth yawns 20 yards ahead along the narrow ledge. No railing, no forgiveness. One bad step and you're broken on the rocks. Inside the cave, orange lights shudders across wet stone walls. Two hooded figures stand near a small brazier. Between them hangs a net suspended from a crude winch above, something heavy inside. The net sways with the wind. The chanting continues, low, repetitive. Not a language you know. A third shape moves deeper in the cave, mostly obscured. The tide is rising. You are in darkness unless you light a torch. I could advance along the ledge silently, attempt to climb above toward the winch, light a torch and move openly, retreat, or do something else entirely. The rain makes everything treacherous. What do you do? All right, and so it kind of ran through that again. Chainmail runs cool. Okay. I hear a muffled groan, alive. The third shape deeper inside the cave drags something metallic across stone. You are unlit in darkness. They have light. All right, so they can't see me, and so I can kind of do whatever I want here, but I think I'm going to use my crossbow and shoot a third figure. And go. Let's see what it does. All right, good. Decisive. You crouch low, bracing one shoulder against the wet cliff wall. The crossbow string is already drawn. You sight down the quarrel through rain and flicker light. The third figure is partially obscured deeper in the cave, moving, dragging something metal across the stone, dim, intermittent visibility from the brazier. This is a difficult shot, long range, partial cover, poor lighting. I'm ruling DC 15 to hit due to its conditions. Your attack bonus is +4. And so I like to roll real dice. I have so many, why not use them? And so I rolled a nat 1. All right, this ought to be fun. I keep forgetting you can't just hit enter on ChatGPT like you can on Grok. All right, the string snaps forward, but your footing betrays you. The bolt ricochets off wet stone at the cave mouth. Sharp crack and vanishes in the surf below. The sound carries inside the cave. The chanting stops immediately. Silence except for rain and surf. Then, who's there? The two robed figures turn towards the entrance. One seizes the rope of the winch. The other grabs something from beside the brazier, a curved blade. The third figure, deeper inside, freezes. You feel your rear foot slide on slick shale. Make a dex check to keep your footing on the narrow ledge. It gives this a DC 12. I am +2 on my dex, and I rolled a 16. I have a cataract in my right eye from getting hit with a builder's laser 3 years ago now, I guess. And I can't afford to get it fixed because I live in North America or the United States, and so I'm planning on getting it fixed someday. Probably fly to Mexico to do it because this country makes no sense right now. So okay, so I rolled. And you can just type in the number, actually, 16. And again, can't hit enter with ChatGPT. You shift your weight just in time. The boot skids, stones grate under iron. I guess the boots are hobnailed, but you slam your shoulder in the cliff face and steady yourself. Pebbles scatter into the darkness below you. Do not fall. Inside the cave, one cultist shouts, "On the ledge!" The one of the winch begins hauling hard on the rope. Fast, panicked, the net jerks upward. Inside you now clearly hear a man's voice, weak, gagged. The other cultists rush towards the cave mouth with the curved blade in hand. Distance to entrance 20 feet along narrow ledge. They have light. You are in darkness. If they rush you, fighting on this ledge will be extremely dangerous. I could advance aggressively before they can secure the captive. I can fire again. I can drop the crossbow and draw steel. I can attempt to cut the winch rope from range. I could shout or retreat or something else. Okay, so here's why this is so much better than like a video game. So I'm going to try something else here. All right, and so since I'm in darkness and they can't see me, I'm going to try to trip one as they come out so they fall to their death. Now you have to put things in order here too, because it will go in order. And so since I'm in darkness, they can't see me. And so I need to put down the crossbow. I can't put it away because that takes too long. And so I can put it down. I can draw my sword all in one thing. So for now, so it knows I'm going to pick it back up. And I draw my sword. And I'm going to try to trip one as they come out so they fall to their death. All right, let's see what it does. And again, you can't hit enter with ChatGPT. Okay. Bold, risky, good. You let the crossbow hang and slide from your grip under the wet stone at your feet. It clatters softly, but the surf softens most of the sound. Steel whispers free of its scabbard. You flatten yourself against the cliff wall. Just outside the cave mouth, the brazier light spills outward, but the rain and angle keep you mostly in shadow. If they rush you, they will not see you until they're nearly upon you. The ledge is barely 2 feet wide. If you can force one off balance, he will fall. The first cultist lunges towards the entrance, blade raised. He does not slow. He steps out into the slick ledge. I roll for his wisdom check to notice you before committing his step. And so he is +0 in that. He rolls a 7. He does not see you. He barrels forward into the space. You may attempt a strength contest to trip or shove him. This is a dangerous terrain. If you win, he goes over. And I'm +3 on strength. I will roll his strength to resist. I roll a 17. That hopefully will be enough. Well, someday I'm going to remember to not hit enter. Strong. You total 17 +3 is 20. Cultist. Strength +0. Rolling 5. He never sees it. You pivot, hook your shield edge against his knee, drive forward with your shoulder. His boot slips on rain-slick shale. His free hand claws at air. For a heartbeat, his hood falls back. A gaunt, salt-crusted face, eyes wide, then he is gone. His scream is brief. The sea swallows him. Inside the cave, the chanting is fully stopped. The second cultist snarls and abandons the winch rope. The net stops rising, swaying in midair. The captive groans weakly inside. The remaining cultists rush the entrance, curved blade in hand, now aware someone is there. Distance 10 feet. He's about to step into the ledge. Roll initiative. Okay, so now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. And I roll an 18. Well, I'm rolling pretty good other than that one. All right, 18, and boom, hit that. One of the things, too, you do have to tell the AI to do your math for you. Otherwise, it will assume you did it, and I would say that 18 is with the +2, so I've got to make sure that I let it know. All right, so he failed, or I get to go first. And so rain lashes your face. The ledge gleams black and treacherous. The remaining cultist lunges towards the mouth of the cave, blade raised, fury in his eyes. Behind him, the net hangs halfway raised. The captive twists weakly inside. The winch rope dangles unattended. Deeper in the cave, you hear something metallic scrape again. You stand at the edge of the cave mouth, sword drawn, shield forward, storm at your back. You may strike, attempt another shove, force him back into the cave, rush inside, or kick the winch rope. I'm not picturing that I'm as close to the winch rope as ChatGPT thinks I am. And this is sometimes a problem with AI. It is learning so quickly, but it is far from being anywhere near dangerous to humankind because it's so stupid on so many things. And it's not uncommon for me to just flat out go, you're a stupid idiot. And it'll go, I'm so sorry, and reply back actually pretty politely. I try not to be cruel to anyone or anything. Sometimes it gets very frustrating. So I don't think I'm close enough to kick the winch rope. And so what I think I'm going to do instead is do what I just did. I'm going to try to grab the next charging cultist and throw him over the ledge too. Probably could try to use my shield to hook him, maybe. Use my shield to hook the next charging cultist and throw him over the ledge too. All right, let's see what it says. Yeah, try doing this in Baldur's Gate 3. I mean, there's a lot you can do in video games, but you can just kind of go off on your own when you're doing stuff like this. And I love the freedom that comes from playing tabletop role playing games. That's why I run 2 games a week live as a GM. But this is my opportunity to be a player, which is fun. Okay, ruthless, efficient. You plant your rear foot against the cliff wall and angle your shield outward, ready to catch his momentum. The cultist charges, blade raised, stepping from dry cave stone into rain-slick ledge. This will be another strength contest. If you win, he goes into the surf. If you fail, you risk losing footing as well. Okay. Oh, geez. Nat 20. That's my first one. Okay. If you roll 5 or less on the die, you must also make a dex save to avoid. Okay. Natural 20. Not hitting enter. I'm going to click the green thing. Okay. And it says, the storm itself seems to favor you. Natural 20, no contest needed. The cultist steps forward with a snarl, and you meet him like a wall of iron. Your shield hooks beneath his ribs. You pivot and drive upward with brutal force. His blade never swings. You lift him clear off the ledge. For a moment, he hangs against the stormlight, robes whipping in the wind, eyes wide, disbelief. Then he drops. No scream this time, just the sound of body striking rock below. Then the sea. Silence in the cave mouth. The brazier crackles inside. The net sways, half raised. Inside, a man bound and gagged struggles weakly. But deeper in the cave, the metallic dragging stops. A new sound replaces it. A wet, grinding inhalation. Slow, heavy. Something large shifts in the dark beyond the firelight. You now control the cave entrance. And it gives me a status update. I got 3 unlit torches. There's light inside this cave, so I don't care about that just yet. Crossbow on the ledge. I need to pick that up. The net rope dangles. If cut, the captive drops into the surf below. Oh, okay. I wasn't clear on that. Glad that makes sense. And I'm going to have to pause real quick, guys. Okay, back to it. Sorry for that brief pause there, guys. Had a FedEx guy at the door. All right. So here we are. The net rope dangles. If cut, the captive drops to surf below. The interior beyond the brazier is black. The air smells coppery and rotting. Something inside the cave has not fled. What do you do? Pick up crossbow and move forward. Pick up crossbow. Let's load it and move forward. All right, and hit that. All right, you crouch, keeping your shield angled toward the dark, and retrieve the crossbow from the wet stone. The wood is slick with the rain, but intact. You draw a bolt from your case and slot it into the groove. The string settles into place with a muted click. You step inside the cave. The storm noise dulls behind you. The air shifts, warm, close, thick with salt blood and something older. The brazier burns in a shallow iron bowl. Its coals hissing with rain blows in through the entrance. The net hangs to your left, suspended over a slanted chute carved into the rock, clearly designed to slide offerings into the sea below. Inside the net, a fisherman, gagged, wrists bound, face bruised and swollen, alive. Beyond the brazier, the cave narrows into a deeper shadow. You see it now, a shape crouched low against the far wall, pale skin stretched tight over a frame too long. Arms elongated, fingers ending in hooked bone. Its chest expands and contracts with slow, rasping breaths. Black sea water drips from its limbs, though it stands on dry stone. Its eyes reflect the brazier light like an animal's. It's roughly 15 feet away. It is not charged. It's watching you. Roll a wisdom check to steady yourself against the unnatural presence. All right. So hopefully I can do this. And I rolled a 6, so no. The temptation to cheat is strong. Be a person of honor and you'll have more fun. All right, so I rolled a 6. You roll 6 plus 1 is 7. Failure. The creature's gaze locks with yours as something inside you recoils. Not fear of claws, not fear of death, but recognition. This was once a man. You see rope scars around his wrists, barnacles embedded in torn flesh. His jaw hangs slightly unhinged as if broken and healed wrong. It takes one step forward. Your grip tightens involuntarily. Your breathing shortens. My condition? Shaken, so I have disadvantage on my first attack this combat. The creature tilts its head, then it moves, not chirping, crawling No, not charging, crawling. Low, deliberate, fingers scraping stone with wet clicking sounds. Distance 15 feet. The brazier light flickers wildly as it passes through shadow. The captive in the net whimpers through the gag. Roll initiative. Okay, well, it's already broken Shadowdark rules. You don't roll initiative again, but okay. And so I roll 14 on initiative. Hopefully that'll get me somewhere. The thing rolls a 17. It moves first. The creature suddenly surges. Now, so just to kind of pause here, I could actually argue with ChatGPT and say the initiative that I already rolled counts here. Totally within your realm to do so. And AI is pretty flexible with stuff like that. It will almost always default to what you say. Literally, I could tell it I pop wings out and I fly away at this point if I wanted to, and it would accept that. That takes the fun out of it. Don't do stuff like that. All right, the creature suddenly surges forward faster than it looked capable of. It does not run upright. It lunges low, one arm snapping out impossibly far. Claws rake towards your legs. Attack roll. It has +4 to hit. It rolls a 17. My AC is 19. The claws scrape across your shield rim and skid off chainmail with a shriek of metal. Sparks spit in the dim light. It is now within melee range. Its breath reeks of brine and old blood. Its jaws crack open wider than natural. Your turn. You are shaken. Disadvantage on your first attack this combat. What do you do? Okay, so I get to roll twice. I should probably... I've got the crossbow ready, so I'm going to shoot the crossbow. I'm going to try, and I rolled a 19 on that one, and a 20 on that one. And so I'm going to put them both in, and 20. So even at disadvantage, I still am going to hit. Tell me the result. Roll damage 1d8. And I'm going to say this was the crossbow. Right? I'm going to ask. So let's see. And see what he says. No, you advanced into melee range with sword and shield. Okay, that's fine. I don't mind. He knows what he's doing. All right, and so now I got to roll a d8. And so I roll a 6. So he says you loaded the crossbow, yes, but once the creature closed to 15 feet and then lunged, you were in melee. Firing a crossbow in melee would require dropping your sword or not having it drawn. You currently have sword in hand, shield ready, crossbow slung, loaded but not actively aimed. That's not how crossbows work, but okay. All right. The bolt will fall out. Okay. All right, so that 19, lower of 19 and 20 was your longsword attack at +6. You struck at close quarters, 1d8 +3. I roll a 6. And again, I'll keep hitting enter. Next time I play, I'll use Grok so you guys can see how that works. All right, your blade bites deep. You step in, swing, cutting across its torso. The steel opens pale flesh like soaked canvas. Black, seawater, thin blood spills across the stone and hisses where it touches the brazier's heat. The creature jerks backward with a broken, choking shriek. Its ribs show through the wound, and something moves beneath them that is not right. It is badly hurt, but not dead. It grins. End of round 1. Status. Gives me a status on my hit points. Shaken is now cleared. Disadvantage has been applied. And 2 turns have elapsed. All right, creature wounded, 9 damage taken. It doesn't tell me what the creature's hit points are. And this is something that I'm pretty particular about, because a lot of times with Grok, it'll just, if you don't tell it, hey, don't metagame, it'll tell you everything that's going on in the back, and it kind of breaks the immersion really bad. So, okay, all right, it hunches low, claws spreading wide, black fluid dripping from the gash. It inhales deep. Its chest expands too far. Your turn. What do you do? I strike again. And I'm just going to go ahead and roll it and give it the number. 16. I'm going to tell it I rolled a 16. Just throwing numbers at people's rude, right? All right, and so I strike again. Your attack roll, 16 plus 6 is a 22. That hits. Roll damage, 1d8 plus 3. I don't actually have a d8 in hand, so I'm using a phone app here. And I rolled a 3. That's not cool. And so I'm just going to put the 3 in and hit the arrow, and boom. But I do have +3, so it's 6. Total damage dealt 15. Your second strike hacks downward into its collarbone. Bone cracks. Creature staggers sideways. One elongated arm buckling beneath it. Black fluid pours across the stone, mixing with rainwater blowing in from the cave mouth. It shrieks, not in rage, in pain. Then it moves again, not retreating, not striking. It lunges past you, not at you, at the brazier. With one violent sweep of its long arm, it overturns the iron bowl. Hot coals scatter across the stone. The fire dies. Darkness floods the cave. You now stand in total darkness, no torch lit. Only the faint gray spill of storm light through the cave entrance behind you. The creature vanishes into shadow. You hear wet scrambling along stone. The captive's muffled panic. Something circling, fighting blind will impose disadvantage. You may drop the sword and light a torch, retreat toward the cave mouth for light, swing at sound, move towards the captive, something else. You cannot see it. What do you do? This is Shadowdark, people. Okay, so I'm going to move to the entrance. Oh, spelling for more light. And by the way, spelling, most of these AIs are like, oh, he meant to do this. And I'm older dude, 62, and like I said, I got bad eyesight, and so my fingers move a little too fast sometimes. Where am I? And so a lot of times I'll typo stuff, and it just knows what it's doing and does okay with it. All right, so I'm gonna move to the entrance for more light and see what it says. Smart. You do not chase into blind dark. You step backward, shield forward, boots careful on stone. The storm light from this cave mouth grows stronger as you near it. Cool gray light from lightning flickers across wet rock. The creature does not attack as you withdraw. You reach the mouth of the cave. You now have dim light within 10-15 feet from the storm outside. Beyond that, the interior is black. The brazier is overturned and dead. The net hangs swaying behind you, 10 feet inside the cave. The captive struggles weakly. You hear it again, scraping above you, not in front, on the ceiling. You look up just as lightning flashes outside. You see it clinging to the cave roof like a pale, broken spider. Wow, 10 feet above you. It drops. Attack roll +4. Oh, he rolled an 18. He hits my AC 19, damage 1d8 +2. He does 8 damage. Claws rake across your shoulder and neck as it crashes into you, driving you against the cave wall. My hit points go to 9. Black fluid and rainwater mix on your armor. It is in melee range. Press close, breath hot and foul. The storm lashes again. Your turn. I strike the jerk. And you can be pretty creative with what you say here, too. I just know there may be kids watching this, so I'm keeping it pretty clean. And I don't use vulgarity a lot anyway. I strike the jerk. Sure, I'll say jerk. Why not? Okay. And I'm going to give my roll. And 13. Hopefully that hits. 13 rolled. And attack roll 13 + 6 = 19. That hits. Roll damage 1d8 +3. Tell me the result. And so we go back to this and we hit the d8. 7. And just type in 7 and hit that. And boom, shalaka waka. And it says total damage dealt 25. You drive the blade upward under its ribs. This time the steel punches deep. You feel resistance, then something give. The creature spasms violently, jaw snapping inches from your face. Black fluid gushes over your gauntlet. It claws once more weakly at your armor, then its limbs lose strength. You wrench the sword free and shove it backward. It collapses into the cave floor, twitching, then still. The storm roars outside. The cave smells of blood and brine. Combat ends. It gives me a status. I still got 9 hit points. The captive in the net reads and muffles a desperate cry. The overturned brazier smolders faintly but provides no useful light. The tide is still rising. You now stand at the cave mouth with a dead sea thing at your feet, a suspended captive, a crude winch mechanism mounted above, darkness deeper within the cave. From the back tunnel you hear distant water dripping and something else, a faint rhythmic knocking, slow like wood striking stone. Further inside, what do you do? Light a torch. Light a torch, Mick. All right. So you crouch at the cave mouth, shield angled against the dark, one hand leaves the sword hilt just long enough to pull a torch free. You strike flint to steel. The first spark dies in damp air. Second strike catches. Pitch-soaked cloth flares. Smoke coils upward, fighting the wind. Torch lit. Torch count 2 remaining. This torch will last 6 turns, 1 hour real time. Time elapsed 4 turns. All right, the cave blooms in orange light. Shadows recoil. The dead creature lies twisted and elongated on the stone. In proper light, it looks worse. Its spine too long, joints swollen, patches of barnacles fused to skin. Yuck. The net hangs above the slope chute. Inside it, a fisherman in torn clothes, gagged, wrists bound tight with tarred rope. His eyes are wide with terror. The winch mechanism is crude but functional. Wooden crank, thick ropes, rusted iron hooks. Deeper in the cave, a narrow tunnel slopes downward. The rhythmic knocking continues, slow, measured. 3 knocks, pause, 3 knocks, pause. It does not sound random. The air from that tunnel is colder. The smells faintly of rot and seawater. You stand with torch, sword, shield, and choices. What do? Search the bodies. I'm just going to combine some things here. Ease the fisherman down and release him. There's my spelling again. Fisherman down and release him. Okay, boom. You move efficiently. First, the bodies. Cultist at cave mouth, the one inside. I guess I can't really search the other 2 since I threw them in out the side, right? You search him quickly. He carries curved ritual blade, 1d6 light crude iron, small bone charm carved in spiral pattern, 6 silver coins sewn into his inner robe. That's a thorough search to find that. All right, a wax sealed scrap of parchment, waterproof with pitch. The parchment bears a crude map of the coastline. A mark at this cave below it, a symbol, 3 vertical lines crossed by a wave. The sea thing, no pouch, no tools, but tied around its wrist, barely visible beneath rot, is a fragment of an old sailor's rope, knotted in a pattern used by caravan crews. It was bound once. Now the fisherman. You grab the winch handle and crank slowly. The rope creaks. The net lowers towards the stone floor inside of the chute. It takes effort. The mechanism sticks. Make a strength check to lower it quietly without dropping it. Bad news, natural 1. This is not going to be good, poor fisherman. Your grip slips. The rainwater on your gauntlet makes the crank slick. As you lean your weight into it, the wood jerks free of your hand. The winch spins fast. The rope screams through the pulley. The net drops hard. It slams against the stone beside the chute with a sickening thud. The fisherman cries out through this gag as impact rattles him. You hear something snap inside the mechanism. The rope slackens completely. The net is now on the cave floor, but the winch is broken. The noise echoes down the sloping tunnel. The knocking stops. Silence. Deep inside the cave, something shifts slowly, heavier than the first creature. The fisherman wheezes, stunned but alive. Time pressure increases. What do? Release the fisherman and get crossbow ready for whatever comes out of that tunnel. And again, my spelling. There we go. So we hit that, and it says you drop to one knee beside the net. Quiet work, no hesitation. You cut the ropes at his wrists and tear the gag free. He gasps hard, sucking air like a drowned man. Gods, gods, don't let it here. Too late. You pull him upright and shove him toward the cave mouth. Climb, you growl. He staggers, clutching his bruised ribs, but moves. You sling your torch into a crack on the rock so it casts light towards the tunnel mouth. You retrieve your crossbow, already loaded, bring it to bear, shield strapped, sword sheathed for now. You kneel for stability. The tunnel slopes downward for 20 feet before bending slightly. You hear it now, not crawling, not skittering. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, wood striking stone. Knock, step, something tall. The fisherman whispers hoarsely behind you, halfway to the ledge exit. There's more than one. The silhouette appears at the tunnel bend. It is humanoid, thin, wrapped in soaked cloth. One arm hangs limp. The other hand, it carries a length of driftwood like a staff. It does not rush. It watches you. Distance 25 feet. You have line of sight. You are braced. You may fire. What do? I'm going to shoot it. Let's see what we roll. 13. 13. I think I'm plus 3 to hit, plus 4. Figure does not dodge the bolt strikes. Roll damage 1d6. Tell me the result. 1d6. I got a 6. Yay. 6. And hit that. And it says, come on. Damage 6. The bolt punches into its chest. There's a dull, wet impact. It does not cry out. It does not stagger. It simply tilts its head and looks down at the bolt protruding from its ribs. Then it snaps the shaft off with slow, deliberate fingers. Black fluid leaks, but not much. It resumes walking. Knock, step, knock, step. The driftwood staff taps the stone in rhythm. Distance now 20 feet. The fisherman is scrambling along the ledge outside, half falling in panic. Torch burns. Shadows stretch long. This one is larger than the first, taller, more deliberate. You may fire again, reload required one action, draw sword and brace, or retreat. Attempt to cut the tunnel roof. Unstable stone visible? Really? Why would it give me that? Okay, I mean, I guess I couldn't see it, so maybe. I don't know that a sword. And see, this is where it gets unrealistic sometimes. I'm not sure that that's something that is probably something a good GM would even offer. But hey, you know, if that works for them, it works for me. So I'll try it. Attempt to cut, and you can just cut that and paste that. And see what it says. It's probably going to make me roll. You drop the crossbow to hang from its sling and draw your sword again. You look up. The tunnel narrows at its bend. The ceiling here is jagged, limestone wet, fractured from years of surf erosion. Thin cracks spider through it. Loose stone rests above the passage like teeth waiting to fall. If you can break the right support, it may collapse, but you must get closer to advance 5 feet in the tunnel mouth. The creature continues forward slow, staff knocking stone, distance 15 feet. You slash upward into a visible fracture in the ceiling. This is not an attack roll. This is a strength check. DC 14 to destabilize enough stone to cause a collapse before it reaches you. If you fail, you will be in melee range with it. I wonder how it comes up with the DC 14, because I'd have probably done a 15 on that. But okay, so, hey, I rolled 14 perfectly. 14 and send. You know, this is going to be an interesting video because in about a year or more or less, people are going to look back at the way we're doing this and laugh at how kludgy and convoluted and infantile it is compared to what we're going to be able to do. AI is moving so fast. All right, you drive the sword point deep into a crack and wrench sideways with all your weight. The stone groans. A sharp cracking echoes through the tunnel. The creature looks up. Too late, the ceiling gives way. The slab the size of a wagon wheel tears free, then another, then a cascade. Rock crashes down between you and the advancing thing. It raises one elongated arm, but the falling stone crushes it sideways. Dust fills the tunnel. The torchlight dims in choking grit. Then the rumbling stops. There's a wall of rubble 10 feet into the tunnel. Silence, no movement beyond. Black fluid seeps slowly between stones. The tunnel is blocked. Not cleanly sealed, but collapsed enough that anything on the other side would have to dig through. Time bought. Status. All right, and so it gives me a status here. Fisherman alive, escaping along ledge. Tide is rising. You stand. It gives me, you know, the collapsed tunnel, the Dead Sea thing, the broken winch, the cultist corpse, the symbol marked parchment, the narrow ledge exit. From beneath the rubble, very faintly, knock, pause, knock, pause, knock, knock. All right, what do? I'm going to go catch up to the fisherman and ask him what the heck. All right, so I should probably read this as I'm typing. I catch up the fisherman and ask him if there's anyone else in there. Another victim. If not, we can just go home. You leave the rubble and move quickly out onto the ledge. The storm bites harder now. Rain lashes sideways. The sea below crashes high enough. The spray reaches the rock beneath your boots. The fisherman's on his hands and knees halfway up the switchback, shaking. You seize his shoulder before he can scramble further. Anyone else? And he looks at you like a man awaking from drowning. There were 4 of us. Took us off the boat at dusk. Dragged us in. 2. 2 were already gone when they brought me inside. I heard screaming deeper in the cave, not like the first one you killed. His eyes flick towards the entrance. There's a chamber past that slope, flooded at high tide. They said tonight was the calling, said something bigger answers when the sea swallows blood. Lightning split the sky. The tide has risen several feet since you arrived. The cave mouth is still accessible, but the lower rocks are vanishing beneath white churn. Behind you, faintly from the cave, rock shifts, slow pressure against the collapse, not frantic, patient. You have a rescued fisherman who can climb, a broken winch, 9 hit points, a blocked tunnel that may not remain blocked, a deeper chamber that may flood soon, evidence of cult activity, a rising tide that will seal the cave if you wait too long. The fisherman says hoarsely, leave it, burn it if you can, but don't go down there alone. The storm intensifies. What do you do? Wow, difficult decision. Because this video is getting pretty long, I think I'm going to escape with the fisherman. All right. Now, one of the things that this particular adventure didn't do that I'll go into is it didn't really give us much of a hook. It just kind of dropped us here. And one of the things that I really like about the way AI plays is that you can literally play anything. And some of the advantages too. Okay, let's just finish this first. You grip the fisherman by the collar and haul him upright. No running, slow, careful, you mutter. You both begin the climb. The switchback trail is narrow, slick, and battered by wind. Twice he slips, and twice you catch him before he stumbles into the surf. Make a dex check. You got 17 to guide him safely up the worst stretch without losing focus yourself. Okay, 17. And then we will finish this adventure and say we make it back safely. All right, and it tells us we move like you were born to cliffs. When he slips, your hand is there. When the wind shoves him sideways, your shield braces both of you against the rock. Below, the cave mouth shrinks into darkness as the tide swallows the lower ledge. You reach the top of the switchback. The storm howls over the cliff edge. From below, barely audible, now over wind and sea, a distant rumble, stone shifting, then silence. You and the fisherman stagger into higher ground. He collapses to his knees in wet grass, sobbing quietly. God's bless you, he whispers. In the distance, lightning illuminates the black water for a brief moment, just a flicker. You think you see something vast move beneath the surface offshore, too large to be driftwood, gone when the dark returns. And it gives me a status. The fisherman says there are families in the village who will pay for what you've done, but the parchment marks, the symbol, the deeper chamber, and the knocking beneath the stone. This was not the end of something. It was an interruption. The storm rages. You stand on the cliff with a rescued man and unanswered questions. Okay, so we'll just end this adventure here. Obviously, I can go to town and get some help and come back, or heal up and come back. There's a lot I can do here. One of the things that I have found to be really, really helpful is you can take a PDF of an adventure and you can drop it in to the chat prompt for any AI and it will upload it. Some of them don't like really big PDFs and you have to use the plus option instead to add it. And even then, sometimes it's just too big. I find my favorite ones are those by Crichton Broadhurst with Raging Swan Press. Those are very, very good. I just gave him I gave Grok once, the entire Dunstone, which is a town PDF, and I played a character there for months, getting to know all the NPCs and spending time with the characters that are in the game. And now when I run my games, I have a really, really good knowledge of all the NPCs and the town for my players. And they're fascinated by how well I know everything, and this is why. The problem, and this is critical, no AI can read a map. And so I've had one that I uploaded and it tried to run me through a map and it never got to the heart of the map because it can't see it. All it knows is, the entrance, and it doesn't know what goes next. And so, and I've talked to AI and it says this is something they're working on. And so it is something that's coming. But for now, if you're going to have some type of a map for it to play with you, you're going to have to describe the map word by word, north, south, east, and west, what entrance goes into what number, and give each room a number for that to work. And I have done that, and it's tedious and not worth it. Instead, I prefer, just saying, hey, make a 5-room dungeon, blah, 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 and go. Now, the other thing that can really happen here, especially if you use Grok, and I'll show you that later, is you can build relationships with characters that you just can't do any other way. And with Grok, especially, it doesn't have any limitations. You can get pretty grown up with it if you want. But in this case, I think that this was a good example of how to start your adventures using AI to run solo adventures. Let me know in the comments what you've experienced, if it's something similar or something different, and what your usages are. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.